Well, as you can see, I finally made up my mind on the seats. These are a real good quality seat. Normally they're up over $500 a set. I happened to find a set that a guy bought, was selling online, that had a minor crack in one piece, but it had never been installed, and got them for a little over $300. So excellent, saves us a bunch of money, and we're going to get into how they're going to be installed here shortly. Now, the other side of the coin is the back seats. And again, after a lot of soul searching, what we're going to do is have the light colored center sections replaced. It's going to cost about 300 bucks, but it'll give a real factory finish in the back. The dark colors don't need replaced. The carpet on the back doesn't need replaced. So we're in pretty good shape now when it comes to seats. But first, we've got to get these ones installed. So let's move out to the car and take a look at what we're up against. So here we have the driver's side seat base. Now, we cut off the factory rear mounts from the original seat tracks. And to do that, what we did was we hacksawed off the rivets. Not a huge deal, kind of a pain in the butt, but we were able to get it done fairly quickly, fairly easily. A little bit of sweat equity. Now for the front, what we're doing is, I believe in using stock mounting points, stock mounting brackets wherever possible. They were engineered by the factory to take the stresses and strains of the seats. They're designed for accident impact, so that's why you see me using the rear seat brackets right off the other seat rails on the stock mounting points. And in the front, what we're going to be doing is using these seat extensions. Now, these bolt extenders I got from the local nut and bolt supply house. They're a grade 8 part. They're designed for connecting rods in tension, or similar to a shock extension. And they screwed right on to the stock mounting point and gets it to the correct height, the same as the factory seat bracket. So now what we have to do is trial fit the seat to make sure everything's going to work, and then mark out where we need to drill our holes on the rear seat brackets in order to make this all come together. So at this point, we need to go get the seat and give it a trial fit. Okay, as you can see, we've already got the passenger side seat installed. So we're going through the exact same process in order to make sure we get the driver's side seat installed properly as well. Okay, our goal here is to get the seats more or less in place. So what we've done so far is get the front seat bolts in. Now because we did a whole bunch of careful measuring on the seat tracks between old and new, the holes line up without a lot of messing around at the front. The back's another story. So we're going to move back to the other side, tighten things up a little bit, and then we'll look at the rear section. Okay, now with the front of the seats loosely bolted in on our custom mounts, we've made sure that the seat rails are basically over top of the factory mounts that we've loosely installed. Now we got to try it on, make sure it's going to fit us properly. And of course, after doing all that cleaning, we really don't want to get our carpet dirty. And yes, the seating position's great. Steering wheel in the right place. Good foot pedal position. Everything falls to hand. We've got a good mount. And this has all been because we took the time to do the measuring. If you don't do the measuring, if you just try and throw them in, you end up with all kinds of hassles. So do the measuring, plan a system, and follow it through like we are here in Real Built. So the next step, we're going to move the seat all the way forward. Flip the seat back forward so we can check the rear mount position. So once we have them all lined up, we're going to grab our faithful marker and mark their positions. So now that we've finished the trial fit, we've marked everything, it's time to pull the seat back up. So, we know the front mounts fit as we planned, using the extenders right into the stock position. Now we need to deal with the back. Now because we marked the back to the end of this seat rail, to the end of the seat rail, we can measure from the end of the rail up to the center of the first hole, which is 3/4 of an inch. So now we go to our seat brackets. And measure 3/4 of an inch up from the seat rail into the center. Then trusty punch and a hammer. Now we're going to drill it out. Now we're starting with a drill bit significantly smaller than what the final hole will be. We'll be making 3 passes. And this is to make sure it's an easy cut and we're not overloading our equipment. A little bit of lubricant, in this case WD-40. Put it on our punch mark. Tighten up our bit because I didn't get it tight enough the first time. There we go. There we go, the first hole is made. But also a good point was made. I didn't double check to make sure this was tight enough before I started. You better, because if this comes out when you're under high pressure, this thing can spin, and that's a bad thing. Now we're going to move up to the next bit size. So you've already seen how to do it. Now we're just going to drill it out one more. Once we've done that, one more size up. So there's a little bit of slop around the bolt for fitting. And then we'll move on to the next one. And we'll be back with you as soon as we finish this bracket and the next one. Okay, we're just doing the final hole on the first bracket. And I wanted to see why we go 3 sizes. We did the pilot hole, which is a little tough. The second hole was easy. This one will be too. Because we did 3 passes, each bite wasn't that big. So it's easier on the drill, it's easier on the part, easier for you to do. And always wear safety glasses and other appropriate gear as you need to when you're drilling. This bracket's now done. Holes drilled. Now we're going to take and do the other bracket. Okay, now we're all set, our brackets are drilled, everything's ready to go. We're going to take all the stock hardware and reuse it, but there are a couple of exceptions. Instead of using the stock flange bolt, we're going to be using a nylock bolt and washer. Stronger, can't come loose. The second change we're going to make is we'll be using these Allen key bolts to secure the front of the seats, simply because it's easier and looks better and they're just as strong. So on that note, now we're going to get into putting the brackets back onto the seats. So now it's time to get the brackets on. Not that big a deal. Make sure you're putting the right bracket in the right place, in the right direction. Slide in the bolt. Mount the bracket, put on our nut, our nylock nut, And they are a little tough to start because they're meant to stay on for good. So the nylon lock makes it a little tougher than a regular nut. Now we want to get these just so they're snug. We don't want them killer tight. We just want to get them so that they're nice and snug, so that they can still be moved, so we can do a final adjustment before we tighten them up. And now the other. Now be careful to make sure you get the right bracket in the right place. It's easy to mess them up. I've done it more than once. So a little patience is a really good thing. And as I said, just so they're snug enough they don't rattle around, loose enough you can still move them by hand. Now, it's time to put the seat back in the car, just like we did the first time. We're going to bolt down the rear mounts first. So with the seat tracks all the way forward and the seat tilted forward, we've dropped them in. Now we're just going to do up the back mounts till they're snug. Now with those snugly in, bring the seat back, bring it all the way back, and now we want to recline this, track the seat the other way to give us some room. And now we work on the front. Okay, all that's left now that we have everything loosely attached is to hop in and move the seat forwards and backwards. sure the recliner's working properly. Make sure you've got the seating position you want. And you're done. Button it down tight, tighten everything up, and you're ready to go with your seats. Now with the plastic all removed, everything tightened down, you can see how our work's paid off. Isn't that a sharp looking interior? The new seats, dash repair, everything clean as a whistle. We've turned that beat up old interior into a nice piece, and when we get the rear seats back from the upholsterer, they'll snap right in and finish it off. So from here, we move on to bodywork.